Good evening, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Gacha episode 22. I have to say, I have to give kudos to Weird Sister number 3, because she proves that in human form, she can go head to head with a monster and a Kamen Rider. And I mean, maybe I haven't given her enough kudos, but I'm doing so right now. It's never too late. And she impressed me with her latest fight scenes. And I have to ask, is the actress a real fighter? Because the fight scenes that we've seen so far up to this point, I've noticed that we've getting like a couple of close shots of her, and it's legitimately her. If it was a stump double, then obviously there wouldn't be close-ups. But what I've noticed, it's actually her. So I had to give kudos to her. Much respect. But at the same time, I feel bad for her because even though she was given powers from the master, apparently due to what happened in this episode, she feels like, hey, like, why are you here? Does the master doesn't have any faith in me? Like, what's the point of sharing me with, the powers? What's the point? And you will find out later what I mean. And yeah, so let us begin our tale. So this opening scene is very weird because you see Kudo and Hotaro. It looks like they came from the Wild West, with the cowboy hats. The only thing that they're missing is some guns. But yeah, it was weird because they came back from capturing a new Kemi card, and it looked like they came from the Wild West. And they were getting excited, hey, everybody, we captured a new card. Next thing you know, you see Renge, who apparently is in love. and Mama-san confirms that, yeah, it looks like she is struck with Cupid's arrow. And I don't know why, but for some reason, Hotaro assumes that this supposed crush is Spanner. I'm like, really? Spanner? And what gave him that idea? I really don't know. But he assumes that it's Spanner that Renge is head over heels for. And so this is where Hotaro, Sabi, and Kudo, and of course Hopper 1 decides to follow her. And you see Renge all dressed up and holding a flower and gifts, and she's getting very excited. And so the heroes are following her, and again Hotaro assumes it was Spanner. And lo and behold, we get into the scene where we see Spanner with a bouquet of flowers. And I assume it was like imaginary, but no, it wasn't. It wasn't. Apparently, Spanner bought a couple of flowers, and the three heroes, including Hopper 1, were like, oh my god, so it is Spanner. So you see Spanner and also the professor, and there were those three, Renge, the professor, and Spanner were going head to head, and everybody, the spies were like, their mouths were about to drop. Like, was it him? Is it him? But nope, they went past each other, and the heroes were like, okay, so it's not Spanner, then who is this secret crush? Lo and behold, is this dude that looks like a K-pop star surrounded with, his groupies, and lo and behold, there he is with Renge. It's like, oh, like, yeah, you're my secret crush and all that stuff. And so, we see this group, and, the spies were like, oh, who is this guy? And Hotaro mentions how he is a Chad or something. And Sabimaru was like, why does he look so familiar? I just can't put my finger on it. And you see all these men and women just like fawning over this K-pop star, air quotes. And then among the group, guess who is among them? Kajiki. Yep. So everybody is head over heels with that man. And yep, that's the end. And then we go to the opening credits. And then after the opening credits, we get to see Spanner and Professor Kyoka. And those bouquet of flowers were for Spanner's parents. So they're visiting Spanner's parents' grave. And, Spanner is wondering what the hell is Minato up to. Like, he doesn't even know. Like, he doesn't know if he's being mind controlled or he is, I don't know, God knows what. But, guys, if you've been listening to me for this long, I already gave you my observation. And I'll say it again here. Minato Sensei is a double agent. He's trying to, destroy the master from within. But from what it looks like, things are not going his way right now. Because we get into the next scene, and the master is pissed. He's disappointed in Minato Sensei. And he's like telling him, like, dude, like, your ex-students are like besting you. They're perfect. Do I need to hire them? Do I need to recruit them to our side? Which he may try, but it's not going to happen, obviously. And it's just, it's sad because, like, he is pissed off from his multiple defeats and also the failure of bringing Spanner into the fold. It's just like, who wouldn't be pissed? Seriously, who wouldn't be pissed? And this is where Weird Sister number 1, who's been played by a 9-year-old, suggested Weird Sister number 3. And of course, number 3 is eager to go to the battlefield, and she's eager to fight anybody, especially Hotaro, because remember the last time, she was not happy, especially when she got saved from him. So she's like, I need to get my revenge, so please let me join in on the fight this time. I will not fail you. And so the master agrees and decides to share his powers with her and just gave her permission to go rampage. So we move on to, believe it or not, I mean, again, the next scene continues with Weird Sister number 3, because in this scene, Spanner and the professor just came from visiting the grave, and lo and behold, they're ambushed by Weird Sister number 3, and she goes on the attack. And it's funny because this fight scene, as she was fighting Spanner, she was like, hey, I'm here to take back the driver. And Spanner was like, wait a minute, this is mine. And why do you say that it belongs to the association when you're not even with the association? So what the hell? I find it to be a little bit funny. It's like, it belongs to the association. I'm like, lady, since when did you when did you join the association? So they were fighting, and again, this scene, I need to give kudos to the actress who plays number 3, because she's very good, and I have lots of respect. I have lots of respect towards her. So again, what I said in the beginning, she proves that if you're an excellent fighter, there's no need for you to turn into a monster or a Kamen Rider, because you can easily go head to head, especially when you're juiced up by the master's powers. However, it was short-lived because right when Spanner unleashes his finisher on her, Amalgam just suddenly intervenes, blocks the attack, and tells her that, we need to retreat, and they escape. And this is where we head to the next scene because it continues. Number 3 is pissed off because it's like, why did he send me to the battlefield and then sends this malgem here? Why? Because he has no faith in me? What's going on here? And the malgem tells her, like, hey, failure is not an option. You need to pursue this carefully. And I have to admit it, I mean, the malgem was right, because the master's already pissed off as it is, and he cannot handle another defeat. Because what happens if you give another L to the master? I think there's going to be severe consequences, if any. And so, the malgem suggested caution, and then next thing you know, you see this K-pop star, air quotes, and his fans, and this is where the malgem suggested, hey, I think I have an idea. So we move to this cutscene where we get to know the, air quotes, K-pop star's name. The name is called, again, forgive me with the lousy pronunciation, Prince Zyukun. And we see him at the hideout, and he's sitting there drinking his tea while his fans are like kneeling before him, all deeply in love with him, while at the same time the Alliance discovers his true identity, a Kamen called, okay, I'm gonna butcher this, Zyukun ear. So he's a type of vampire Kamen which sucks people's energy to the point where they could die, pretty much. And Hotaro pointed out something. Well, if he's a Kamen, how come he is human and able to talk perfectly? What's going on here? What's going on? But of course, there's no explanation to that, at least not yet. So we get to the hideout, and it's funny because because I find it funny because, okay, they discovered his identity at the restaurant, and then we head to the next scene to the prince's hideout, and lo and behold, they discover the hideout and they just break in. So do you think that, I think they found him using the Kamen locator, okay, but it's just I found it to be like, how did they get from the restaurant all the way to his hideout unless they're next door to each other? I know I'm nitpicking, but you gotta ask yourself that, like, how did they, okay, one, discover who he is and just located the hideout like in a millisecond. I know. We have to like squeeze everything in 30 minutes. I get it. But it's something to like point out. So all three of them break in, and tells everybody, hey, this is a Kamen. You need to snap out of it. And, they revealed his true name. And surprisingly enough, Kirum just stood up and told everybody the truth. He could have easily denied that, hey, I'm not this Kamen. What is this Kamen? What the hell? But he just admits it to everybody. And And poor Renge, she just quickly snaps out of his spell, and she's like, "Wait, so my secret crush was a Kemi?" And she faints, and we get this funny cutscene with Renge. And before she fainted, she revealed that apparently this is her third secret crush. So I'm curious, like, who were the last two? I'm very curious, but you kind of feel for her because, like, she thought that she finally found the one, but it turns out to be a Kemi vampire. You kind of feel bad for her. So during and after the faint, Kirum decides to possess everybody from the Alliance. You see him first possess Hotaro, and he sucks the energy out of his club, and then he jumps from Hotaro to Sabimaru, does the same thing, and then lastly, it jumps from Sabi to Kuro and does the same thing. Luckily, Hotaro does a combo with him being a jacket, which is a weird combo, and ends up depossessing Kuro. While that mess is going down at the hideout, you see Weird Sister number 3 with the malgem and decides to wait without breaking in. So like I've said before, Hotaro rescues the possessed Kuro, and Zyukun is now at full strength and decides to make a run for it. And so Renge and Sabi stays with the people. They want to make sure everyone is okay because remember they've been sucked by the vampiric Kemi, and Kuro and Hotaro are chasing after the vampire. Then, unfortunately for them, number 3 and the malgem just cuts in and tells the vampire Kemi, like, hey, go ahead, we'll take it from here. And K-pop star, air quotes, gives them their thanks. And so we have another awesome fight between malgem and number 3 versus Kuro and Hotaro. And this fight was a little bit one-sided because what I've noticed is that they kept the malgem and Kuro off for a little bit, and the camera was focused on more with number 3 versus Hotaro. And Hotaro noticed a change, that her fighting has gotten more aggressive and powerful. So he decides to take out his ex-Gotchaberg and decides to take out his Mantis Kemi card. But then this is where number 3 says, you're too slow, kicks him, and captures, well, not necessarily capture, but stole the Mantis card and turns herself into a malgem. And Hotaro's like, hey, give it back. So we move on from there. So we have a little bit of the fighting. Now that number 3 turned herself into a malgem, here comes Spanner. And everyone was like, Spanner, I'm here for her. I'm not here for you guys. I'm here for number 3. So we see now all 3 riders united fighting the malgem and number 3. So we see that fight, and then Spanner does this new combo called the Ange Copter, and destroys both of them. He sends a barrage of feathers onto number 3 and the malgem, and it causes explosions, and we get this scene where the attack did kill off the malgem, but of course it didn't kill off number 3. We can't kill off number 3. She's doing too good. She's good. I mean, it's too early anyways to kill her off anyways. So we see the malgem get destroyed, and we get to see number 3 defeated. She is the Kemi and number 3 are now separated, and of course the other Kemi is released. So Spanner and Hotaro just sticks out their blank cards, but then before they were recaptured, number 3 decides to those two are coming back with me, and we see a brand new transformation where number 3 becomes a malgem once again, only it's a combination between the mantis and this other Kemi, which I forgot what creature it was, and it's a weird looking fusion, and Kudo was surprised to see this hideous fusion. And I have to say though, it's the opposite of the writer's combos. So this is like the malgem version of the Kamen Rider combos our hero's been using for many episodes now. And then the last scene we get is Zyukun, the K-pop star, air quotes, is at a random building on top of a rooftop, and all of a sudden he decides to shoot a beam of pink light to the sky and says, as he is shooting that beam, is "I'm going to save you all." And that, my friends, is the end of that episode. What does he mean by "I'm gonna save you all"? I wonder. Obviously, we'll know more next week. I have to say, this episode, this is number 3's episode, because she really impressed me with her fighting, and just proves, again, I know this is a broken record, but she can go head to head with a Rider or a malgem, and she will be on top. I mean, if she ends up turning good and become a Rider, she will become more powerful. But for right now, I'm very impressed, and kudos to the actress. She is very good at what she does. Nothing much happened here. This is like a 2-parter Valentine's Day episode. And glad to see, Renge, having her own mini story, her own situation. And we got to see Spanner for a little bit, and nothing much happened in this episode except, Weird Sister number 3 being pissed off that her master does not have any faith in her. But we'll see. We'll see for the next episode what's going to happen, but it's going to be another L. It's going to be another L. What do you guys think about this episode? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? And also, please let me know if I missed anything, because even though I have my notes in front of me, I may have missed a couple of things. So please write in the comments below what your thoughts about this episode. I do apologize for my lack of pronouncing names, but you should know by now that I'm terrible in pronouncing Japanese names. And I think that's it. That's all I can say. Thank you very much, everyone, and I'll see you all on the other side of Oblivion. And give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. Johnny!